Hmm.
मेरा पाउच लिया ये पाउच हम देखो वो मार दे अभी मैच आज मैच है 1 घंटे बाद 1 घंटे बाद बाय बाय
Okay. No.
बस
Mranmay also so many days over.
बार बार पत्ता है इसको आगे बिठा तो भूख रहा है क्या है अब देखो ना
Okay. You tell what we have learned the other day. Don't that. Okay. When I will start what we have learned in the last week. First was the debate started. Pretty much just started in which country? China. China first. Accordion book we have studied. Then the evolution we have seen. What was the type of printing they have developed? Hand printing. It is wood block. Okay. Then it went to Korea and Japan. Japan, what was the book? First printed book. Diamond. First diamond sword. So who introduced print in Japan? Buddhist missionaries. Okay. When was the first book printed in 1800? Why? No. One to see check. 860. 860. And what was the peculiarity of that book? No, that was in Europe. How many sheets? 6 sheets of print with a woodcutter illustration. No. That book. You did not. That we are discussing something and afterwards recollecting. Then after. Oh, technique. Come. Yes. Then afterwards we have studied. It went to Europe. There we have studied who introduced that print to Europe. Marco. Then after that we have studied about that mechanical printing. Who invented mechanical printing in Europe? No. Mechanical machine.
Yes, sir.
Gutenberg. Johann.
Gutenberg.
So which was the first book printed? Bible. So we have studied Bible was printed, that is 180 copies.
180.
180 copies in 2 years. By 3 years. Okay. Then by 1550, they have perfected that printed. 1450 or 1550? Have to see that online that students are there. Then we have studied about the print revolution. What is meant by print revolution? See, when that like 1448 and 1450. Okay. So then we have studied about the large number of printed books came in the market. That was the revolutionary change. Then this period came to be known as print revolution. Okay. Then next we have to study about, we are moving to a new reading public. That also we have learned. New reading public, what was the new reading public? With the development of education or literacy, new types of books were printed.
Certain.
Huh?
Yeah. And both they give you.
So,
Only on the bank writing market.
new types of books were printed and more readers were in the reading area. That means people were interested in reading. So, this resulted in the reading mania. Okay, we are moving to study about the reading mania. What is the meaning of this mania?
Large.
Mad of reading. That means that interest in craze or like that to read that books. So when his mania came, the booksellers or the publishers were interested in publishing new varieties of books. So that is what depends upon the interest of that it itself. What is that? According to the interest of the people, according to the demand of the people, new varieties were brought in the market. They started new ideas, how to introduce new types and how to satisfy the readers. For that purpose, they started, booksellers were employed. So first thing they have done is that employed that booksellers. So they go to homes or that villages or towns and all, selling the books. For that, the first type of book was called almanacs.
Diaries.
It is not diary, calendar. That is a religious calendar. We know that in now you are having festivals one after another. Isn't it? That is first festival, it was followed by another. So there is a calendar of festivals. So accordingly, that religious calendars were published. That is called almanacs. That was the first thing. Got it? Are you marking all these things? Then next one is that penny chapbooks. What is that? It was a small book. Its cost is 1 penny. Okay, and then there were some people who employed to sell it. That people were called chapmen. That is booksellers or salesmen who used to go and sell the book. They were called chapmen. So those books came to be known as penny chapbooks. So this was in England. In England, in order to satisfy the needs of the people, penny chapbooks were introduced and so okay. Armaya,
Yes, ma'am.
you on your video?
Ma'am, actually no electricity.
Okay, okay.
So how did
You could hear, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So penny chapbooks were introduced in which country? England. Then there was another type book which was published and sold in bibliothèque blue. You just check it out. That is spelling.
I'm दूसरा page है.
I will do. You just.
मैं उधर उधर. हाँ देखो background है. हम भी देखो हाथ.
What is that page?
हम बोल रहे थे.
No, after once the next reading.
हम कौन सा वाला?
Religious debates I did not. No. You just turn to this page only.
ये वाला.
Reading mania. That I will explain afterwards. I'll go back. No,
ऊपर करूँ ना कि नीचे?
नीचे 114. नहीं उसके बाद. By mistake I have taken that page. Okay. No problem. We will come. So what is this bibliothèque blue?
Okay.
See, bibliothèque blue. Listen, Myra. Bibliothèque blue was published in France. Okay, it was made, that is published, that is small type of books. It was with a blue cover. Understood? So it came to be known as bibliothèque blue. What was that? In France, were the bibliothèque blue, which were low-priced small books printed on poor quality paper and bound in cheap blue covers. Have you taken this one? This page?
Yes, ma'am.
This bibliothèque blue and only 1 mark question it will come. Okay. So penny chapbooks we have seen and bibliothèque blue. Okay. B-I.
I'm L.
N-I.
वो. तो कैसे लड़का? ये है ना?
Blue. Bibliothèque blue.
अच्छा blue की silent है वो. पहला वाला.
It is French word. It is not actually pronounced like a blue also.
हमसे French पढ़ा.
Pardon.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bibliothèque blue was published in which country? France. In order to satisfy the needs of that readers. So we have studied almanacs, then penny chapbooks, and the third bibliothèque blue.
ये book का नाम है क्या ये?
So why it was known as bibliothèque blue?
का नाम book ये वो book seller का author का.
What I was telling this much time.
Book
Then why it was called bibliothèque blue? You tell. Because blue, it is also low priced books. Then there were romances printed on 4 to 6 pages. And the most substantial histories, which were stories about the past. So various size and various needs, the books were printed and published. Now, before going to the development of in the field of science and all, we will come back to that previous page which we have missed. What was that? Religious debates. Debates and the fear of. See, it was also a time of printing so many types of books. So many types of books means I have told you the previous class about that Bible. So earlier, so many copies of Bible was not there. Only that religious authorities were having that Bible. They interpreted it according to their convenience. People never got the opportunity to read it. So in that circumstances, nobody used to ask question about that is whether it is right or not. Nobody used to criticize us. But with the development of print, so many types of books began to be printed, and most of the books began to criticize the authorities. When people read, say, now, if I have written a wrong spelling, you would check in the textbook and you tell, madam, that spelling is wrong. So what is that? You are having something that is correct and you are telling that man it is wrong. So that way people began to read these books and criticize the authorities. What you were teaching were wrong. So that is why even those who disagreed with the established authorities could now print and circulate their ideas. If they disagree with the religious authorities, they would print that kind of dissatisfaction and circulate it. It is not in the form of big books. It can be in the form of pamphlets. So people who are educated read and then they began to question the authorities. This way, lot of criticism through the printed message, they could persuade people to think differently. Earlier, people were blindly believing what was taught to them. Now they started thinking whether it is right or not. So it helped the people to think in a different way and move them to action. That according to their thinking, they began to organize the people and to question the authorities. So that is what this has significance in different spheres of life. Now, another thing is that you just think about the authorities. They were teaching the public in a particular way for years. It was not for 1 year, 10 years or like that. So many years, this teaching was made by the authorities to the public. Now, with the help of the print, new ideas began to come. So, can the authorities, you just imagine you were the authorities and you were teaching the public in one way, and suddenly the public began to be alert and began to question you. Can you accept that way thinking or that way questioning? No. So that is what happened. Not everyone welcomed the printed book, and those who did also had fears about it. So those who got the opportunity to read it and understand that what is the correct thing, they had fears on it. Because what would be the effect on the majority of the public? Now only few could read. Now when it reached to that majority, what would be the reaction? So many were apprehensive of the effects that the easier access to the printed word and wider circulation of books. See, now some books which are not good for the children to read. Imagine you are students, you are in that particular age group. Some of the books which are in the market are not good for you or your reading. So immediately the government would take some action to restrict that kind of publication to be circulated in landscape. So that is what happened here also. The authorities were one side afraid of this kind of wider circulation of new ideas. On the other side, few people who wanted to tell about what is right. So there was a conflict of ideas. So then it was feared that if there was no control over what was printed and read, then rebellious and irreligious thought might spread. So what was that? Try to imagine. For a long time, one type of teaching was made to learn. People forced to believe it. It was not for few years, it was an age-old tradition. Now, new ideas, this was not wrong ideas, but these religious people began to think that this kind of ideas would make the people irreligious. Sometimes younger generation began to question why. Give reason for that. So this kind of spreading of ideas would make the people irreligious and rebellious. They began to question and rebel against the authorities. If that happened, the authority of valuable literature would be destroyed. What was believed as valuable literature? The literature which was used by them. See, it is not actually wrong according to them. They interpreted in that way. Okay. So it's all about interpretation. Now, this was passed from generation to generation. Now, with the printing of Bible, people could read and they began to ask what is right, what is wrong. So, to the authorities, those people who are questioning are irreligious and rebellious. Understood? Now, unvaluable literature would be destroyed. Expressed by religious authorities and monarchs, as well as many writers and artists, this anxiety was the basis of widespread criticism of the new printed literature that had begun to circulate. So this apprehension, this suspicion gave rise to a new type of movement. They thought that this type of books publication should be restricted. They cannot stop it, but this circulation to be restricted. Then let us consider the implication of this one sphere of life in early modern Europe, namely religion. So one type of thing that is, there are two authorities. One was monarch another was religion. The religion dominated in the administrative field also. So now let us take that one area where the impact of publication occurred. What was that? First thing, in 1517, one person named Martin Luther. You don't confuse with Martin Luther King. Have you heard about Martin Luther King Jr.? Civil rights movement in America. But this Martin Luther was a reformer. He tried to reform the Christian religion or Christianity. What he did? He wrote 95 theses. What he wrote? 95 theses. What is this thesis? This was the type of teaching which he felt wrong. What was taught in the Christianity which he felt wrong was prepared in 95 theses and posted on the Wittenberg Church. What he did? 95 theses he prepared and posted on Wittenberg Church. It was an open invitation to call the religious authority to have an argument with him. When he read the Bible, he thought the teaching which was given by the Roman Catholic Church was wrong, and he invited those authorities to come and have open discussion. Open debate or discussion. That means what he wrote on the 35 theses, about that you come debate with me and prove me what I told is wrong or you told is right. You prove. That much only he did. Then what happened? A printed copy of this was posted on the door of Wittenberg. It challenged the church to debate his ideas. Luther's writings were immediately reproduced in vast number and read widely. Here you have to imagine, when print was not there, people never saw that what was written in the Bible. Now, with the help of print, people got an opportunity to read what he wrote and began to think about what was taught to them for ages were wrong. One simple teaching, some simple thing I'll tell you. He left her. Armea? Eh?
Also stay on the speaker.
Sir?
Purple. Double one box. The box. अरे उधर ही उसको काम करो. नहीं चला गया.
Current was not there. So, what happened here? One example only I am telling. There were so many type of sacrament. Sacraments means which is done in the church. Okay. But according to the Bible, many of the things are not there. But continuously it was practiced. They used to collect the taxes in different names. For each and everything, they started taxing the people. One in Catholic Church, there is a particular activity that